Hello, this is Freethought Forum, a program by the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee. I'm no longer Catholic Dan.
And I'm Rita Lund. We want you to know that if you don't believe in God,
You are not alone.
Right here in East Tennessee, you can find free-thinking atheists and agnostics. This is a show for them and for people committed to a life rooted in science and unfettered by supernatural beliefs.
We have with us today in the studio members of the Lenoir City Secular Student Alliance with whom we will be having a conversation about being out and a non-believer in East Tennessee.
But first, we want to tell viewers about the show sponsors.
The Atheist Society of Knoxville frequently has a fun meetup at a bar or eatery. Tonight's meetup is at Barley's in the Old City, starting around 5:30. Look for the silver-jacketed copy of The God Delusion standing upright on the table. And as Matt Dillahunty might say at the Atheist Experience, everyone is welcome to our happy hour for food, drink, and conversation. But if you plan to preach, proselytize, provoke, or punch, please don't.
The Rationalists of East Tennessee have several regular monthly meetings. The first and third Sunday mornings of the month are usually lectures with lively roundtable discussion. The second Sunday, we hold the Skeptics Book Club. On the fourth Sunday, we sort of mix things up. Sometimes with a get-together we call Reflections, which features a potluck lunch in someone's home. Sometimes we meet to play board games, watch a movie, or similar activities. Now and then we have a blood drive, too.
Later in the show, we will give you our websites to visit for additional details, including times and locations. But first, we bring you the segment known as In the News. After passage in some states which could have the effect of requiring people to have a birth certificate to use a bathroom, some states are feeling some heat.
Let's hear from the boss, Bruce Springsteen. On his website, a statement he made about North Carolina. Now this is quoting Bruce Springsteen. As you, my fans know...
Hold on. If you're going to quote Bruce Springsteen, you have to start by 2, 3, 4.
Go for it.
Kick it. That's what the boss would do. Ready? So I'm going to lead you. 2, 3, 4.
As you know, fans, I'm scheduled to play in Greensboro, North Carolina this Sunday. As we also know, North Carolina has just passed HB 2, which the media are referring to as the bathroom law. HB 2, known officially as the Public Facilities Privacy and Security Act, dictates which bathrooms transgender people are permitted to use. Equally important, the law also attacks the right of LGBT citizens to sue when their human rights are violated in the workplace. No other group of North Carolinians face such a burden. To my mind, it's an attempt by people who cannot stand the progress which our country has made in recognizing the human rights of all of its citizens to overturn that progress. Right now, there are many groups, businesses, individuals in North Carolina working to oppose and overcome these negative developments. Taking all of this into account, I feel that this is a time for me and the band to show solidarity with those freedom fighters. As a result, and with deepest apologies to our dedicated fans in Greensboro, we have canceled our show scheduled for Sunday, April 10th, this past Sunday. Some things are more important than a rock show, and this fight against prejudice and bigotry, which is happening as I write, is one of them. It is the strongest means I have for raising my voice in opposition to those who continue to push us backwards instead of forwards.
Boy, I'm glad he did that on his blog and not on stage, because that'd be the most boring song introduction ever. This one goes out to all the people with the genitals that don't match what they think, and they need to use the bathroom. 2, 3, 4. I love the boss. Anyway, we share the following with permission of those involved. The parents of a member of the Atheist Society of Knoxville also took action in a form of this letter shared with us on our secret Facebook page. The member wrote, "Thought I'd share this. This is a letter my dad wrote to the reality company that we use for our annual family beach vacation. Just a bit of heads up, and not directed at anyone in your shop at all. You have treated us like human beings every time. Although we have vacationed in your state for 40 years and at Top Sail for 36, we're planning to skip it this year in favor of South Carolina, which doesn't have a statewide law permitting discrimination against the LGBT community in the name of one's religion. Since anyone's family may have or already knows that they have a member of this group, we just don't feel comfortable spending our vacation dollars in a place that legitimizes hatred of any group based on biologic factors completely out of the person's control. A law banning all religious discussions or religions in politics would be much more in keeping with your state's intelligentsia and progressive policies in other arenas. Your state has been hijacked by the religious right and will unnecessarily suffer until reason prevails. Please feel free to share my note with anyone you choose. All the best, Ben and Ann Cohen. So that's another strike against North Carolina. People are not going to be vacationing there. Now this guy says he's going to go to South Carolina. They have their own problems with LGBT, but hey, you know, it's a step in the right direction. Of course, Tennessee is not free of this kind of law either. In 2011, the state adopted Equal Access to Intrastate Commerce Act, which overturned laws preventing discrimination against LGBT persons enacted by local governments in Tennessee. It could require people to show their birth certificate in some situations, as it says, sex means and refers only to the designation of an individual person as male or female as indicated on the individual's birth certificate. The act also says in part, no local government shall by ordinance, resolution, or any other means impose on or make applicable to any person an anti-discrimination practice, standard, definition, or provision that shall deviate from, modify, supplement, add to, change, or vary in any manner.
And you know what gets me, Dan? They have managed to fit in anti-discrimination in their very discriminatory law.
Yeah, that's always the addendum. It's like, oh, it can't be a bad law. Look, we're anti-discrimination. It's like, oh, we're shutting down all these Planned Parenthoods. That's for women's health. We want them to not be able to get health care. No, it's a cover-up. So the immediate effect of this equal access to interstate commerce was to overturn protections to the LGBT residents of Nashville, where such a protection ordinance had been passed. You with me? And just this week, the Tennessee legislature passed and sent to the governor a bill to make the Holy Bible the state book of Tennessee. If the governor does not veto it, it will become law. You can have that.
Oh, I can have this. Our sometimes host, Faithless Forrest, wrote the following to the office of the governor. I'm writing to ask the governor to veto the bill making the Holy Bible as state book. This is a misbegotten union of state and sectarian religion which can only cause trouble. If enacted, I invite the governor to imagining the disputes about the language of the new state book just from the many versions you can find here. And there's a website, http://biblehub.com/Isaiah/45-7-8.htm. Are state employees to weigh in on which version of Isaiah 45:7 is correct? Do state employees go with King James Bible? I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Or the Milquetoast New American Standard 1977 version. The one forming light and creating darkness, causing well-being and creating calamity. I am the Lord who does all these things. Do you want state employees attributing mere calamity or full-on evil to the Lord or Yuhah, as some other translations name the Hebrew God? It is best to keep the state out of these questions. Be like Thomas Jefferson and keep strong the wall he wrote our Constitution creates.
All right, so let's go ahead and not allow the state book to become the Bible, because that would be ridiculous. But let's get to our main portion of our program here today. We have with us a very special guest. Elizabeth is from the Student Services Secular Student Alliance, the SSA. There's so many of those acronyms I've got out there. The Secular Student Alliance. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your group, who you are, and what we're doing here?
Okay, well, the Secular Student Alliance at Lenoir City High School is part of the larger Secular Student Alliance. And we started about, I guess this is our second year. And we started because some students went to the administration asking to create the club, and they found me as an advisor. And last year, we might have had 3 or 4 or 5 regular students, and we do this year also, 3 or 4 or 5 regular students. We try to meet twice a month, but sometimes it just doesn't happen.
So you said you're the advisor. Does
Yes.
that mean you're a faculty member at the school?
I am. I'm
okay.
a teacher.
You are a teacher. Okay, I'm a teacher as well.
Okay.
And I understand the perils that can come from, especially in this, Knox County School District. My school, nearly every teacher has a Bible on their shelf.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, right?
Yep.
So you are faculty. Have you had any blowback, any pushback from? Obviously now, I mean, you're on our very, very, very popular television show, which is watched by millions. So you're out.
This is the most famous I'm going to be.
Right. So you're out. So have you had any blowback or pushback?
No, not really. At least nothing to my face.
Well, there's that.
I think maybe sometimes the administration will see me coming and think, oh my gosh, what's she going to ask for this time? But I'm pretty active as a teacher also always asking for things for my students. And
As every good teacher does.
Every good teacher. And I teach a special population. So
What would that be?
the ELL population,
Okay.
English language learners. And so they're looking for lots of different circumstances. They're not looking, sorry. They have lots of different circumstances where, the laws that are passed in Nashville don't necessarily fit them. And
So a couple years ago, you guys, some students came to you,
Yes.
and they said, "Listen, we are tired of all of this." I mean, you fill in the blank here.
Yes.
Is that what happened? We're tired of this Christianity. We're tired of. What happened?
I think they were just looking for a safe space.
Okay. Very popular term
Very
right now.
popular, yes. We do have several Christian-themed clubs at school.
Shocking.
And which is fine, but
Well, I mean,
Do you
it's
think
allowed.
any of this
It is
was
allowed.
precipitated by the articles that Crystal Myers couldn't get published and that the News Sentinel finally published?
I don't know. Crystal Myers was several years ago, and some of our students had heard about her, but no one really knew her. And I'm not sure. I mean, as far as I know, it did not happen because of one precipitating event, the creation of the club. I think students were just looking for, again, a safe space, a place to be with other like-minded individuals, and a chance to be a club and do some of the things that all the clubs do.
Well, tell us about some of those things that you do participate
Okay,
in.
well, we have some speakers.
Hold on, let me guess. You
Okay.
guys, first of all, you slaughter goats,
Yes.
and then you pour the blood on your head because you're without religion.
That's
so
right.
No, well, you probably do all the normal things.
We do all the normal things a club does.
Of course.
We do some charity work or service work. We have picked up trash around school. We have planted bulbs around school.
But where did you get your morality from? If you didn't have a book telling you that it's nice to plant.
I bought a bunch of morality at Walmart the other day.
How much a pound?
How much a pound?
Or was it by the dozen?
More than I could say. So, I don't know. Crystal Myers came and visited us. So we, as I said, we're a small club. We would love to do something a little bit more vocal or a little bit more giving us a place in our school.
Do you have anything in mind what it might look like?
Well, I think we've talked about debating's not quite the right word.
That's what came to my mind.
Having a forum maybe with one of the Christian-oriented clubs, but
I'll bet that doesn't go over too well.
We haven't really broached that other than, I mean, we haven't even broached that with the administration.
Okay.
Just to, as I said, we have 3 or 4 or 5 kids, and some of them do not have support at home from parents.
What I wanted to ask you was, are you aware of youngsters that would like to be in the club, but because of parental considerations?
No, I am not aware of. I'm not.
just
That's
wondered.
not. That's not to say there aren't any.
Yeah.
And I was talking with one of our club members on the way down here, and as I said, I work with the ELL population, and I know this is not true 100%, but you know, many of them are steeped in Catholicism, steeped in evangelism, and so I don't really interact with the English-speaking population too much. And so, you know, to come to me, a strange teacher, and say, you know, I want to be part of this club,
Right.
you know, it takes a high schooler with guts to kind of do that. So I don't know of any.
What about other teachers? Are there any teachers that have possibly gave you a little elbow and said, hey?
No, I mean, I think I've got lots of support. I could name a half dozen teachers or so who are like-minded like me. I've got several friends who, you know, do have Bibles or Bible quotes on their desk, but we get along just fine. And I think some of the more religious ones maybe steer clear of me.
Okay.
But that may be for other reasons, or
I have 2 questions I want to get your feedback from.
Yes.
Your administration.
Yes.
How have they handled this?
They're very
Positive?
supportive.
Supportive?
Very supportive. The students who formed the club had to kind of lay out a mission, and they had to name a president and I guess a vice president, or they named themselves, and the administration said that the club was happy, or the club was welcome, and you know, and we do several things on campus, and as far as I know, none of the students have ever had any trouble as far as teachers saying things to them or other students saying things to them.
A part of the national mission statement talks about the students and what they want. It says the Secular Student Alliance empowers secular students to proudly express their identity, build welcoming communities, promote secular values, and set a course for lifelong activism. Then, we envision a future in which secular students lead meaningful and fulfilling lives, thrive as valued members of society, and provide visionary leadership committed to humanistic ideals and critical inquiry. I don't see how anyone could possibly knock that. I mean, and it's built on a rational base.
Well, that's why. There's no magic involved. That's why we'd knock that. Yeah, so you guys have a great mission statement. You know, if every club helped campus clean up and things like that, I mean, schools would have no problems, right? But one thing, you know, because I would say I'm quasi-closeted. I don't ever bring up the topic, and I don't teach religion or anything in my class, right? It has nothing to do with it. I'm in a math class, quite frankly, so it's not even on the table. But I would like to be out, and I kind of dangle that carrot out there. Okay, I'll make, you know, some sort of quip, and I've noticed that the students, will pick up on it and come talk to me afterwards and say, oh, you know, you made that comment or whatever. And I'm always scared that it's going to come back and bite me in the rear there. But you haven't had any problems with that.
No.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know, we were talking about, in one of my classes, we're talking about mythology.
Okay.
And we were reading the Greek creation myth today, and I said something about it being similar to the Christian myth, and no one batted an eye
Right.
or
Well-
shot their thunderbolts at me.
Right.
So, but maybe they were just bored, not paying attention too.
I made a comment once to one of my, I coach wrestling, and I said, you know, our game has evolved just like we evolved from a common ancestor with chimps. And so, a student said, no, we didn't. And I was like, what? You know, record scratch. I was like, okay, wait, what? What? We did not evolve? And then we had to go into it. But I more am concerned with the parents of the students, because the students are all kind of with it. They know, they're hip, they know what's going on, you know, and they're far more progressive than we would like to think, really. It's the parents who are, I have sort of fear that if I came out as an atheist, I'd start getting phone calls. Don't let that atheist teacher teach my kid. No, nothing like that, is that?
No, I don't have that fear. But again, I deal with a different parent population than you. So, but I do know that, you know, there are some students in our club who really have very unsupportive families, very unsupportive parents, and, you know, won't pick them up after the club meeting, and so they have to walk home, or, and, you know, I don't think anything's personally directed against me, but don't want them to have anything to do with the club, don't want them to hang out with people who are in the club. And
You think a lot of that, I think a lot of that is, I mean, it's obviously fear, but I think it's parents' attempt to protect, because they at some level, they know in Knoxville area, we're a strongly Christian, whatever, society here, and that if you take that atheist step or secular step, you're stepping out on the community.
Yes.
And so I think a lot of parents go, well, we don't want you ostracized. This is where we live.
Yes.
I mean,
and to me, being secular is just like, and this is going to sound like I'm proud of it, but not necessarily, just more my reality. Like, it's just one more notch of how I'm different from some of my colleagues, in the sense that, or some of the other people in East Tennessee, in the sense that, well, I didn't grow up here, and I'm a vegetarian.
ooh.
But
Oh, my. So, can we have security?
If you say
Security.
anything more,
I
I
know
might
if
have
they
to
say
hiss at you.
I know, if anything more, and for sure I'll be going to hell, I guess. But
We're not worried about that
yeah,
here.
but you know, like, I don't know.
So you have
I don't
some-
support the vols.
Okay, security, double time. Let's get her
But
out.
just, you know, lots of things
think-
to make me a little different.
Says Alabama on
So,
her back.
I know.
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, that's great. You know, because you're obviously a progressive teacher, and you're
Oh, yeah,
trying to push.
Democrat.
You're out of here.
Yeah.
No, but you're a progressive teacher, and you probably, I've never been in your classroom, but you probably teach in sort of a progressive style as well, where the kids probably react very well to you. You know, anytime that you can progress and make an improvement upon something, teaching style, whatever it may be, kids react, they
Yes.
respond to it.
Yes.
And this is something different. I can imagine that you probably have 20 or 30 closeted secular students who are just waiting for that one key person to jump on board. So, I mean,
We'll hope.
you got to keep pushing. You got to keep getting out there.
We'll hope. I try not to be in people's face.
Well, that's why you're on our show.
Just
We'll put you out there for it. I'll get in their face. Join.
just like I wouldn't want, you know, the what is it called? Meet me at the pole.
Oh, right.
Or the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, you know, just like I wouldn't want them in my face about
Yeah.
their beliefs and what their club is doing, and you know, I'm not going to push my agenda.
But here's the thing about those clubs, and I was part of a Fellowship of Christian Athletes as a college athlete, and they sneakily send you out to do that bidding on the DL. They really do. Then we're supposed to go and recruit. And so if you guys aren't doing, you know, they're cheating. So not to say that you should cheat, but you gotta use the same rules they're
Well,
using.
there is something to recruiting, so
Right.
we make sure
Make sure
we have
you're
a
on the
club next
announcements.
year. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We are. We're on the announcements.
And it wasn't Lenoir City. Where was I? It was someplace out there. I was at a football game, and the football game opened with, guess, a prayer, right? And so, you know, things like that, you guys got to be on top of if you ever see those sort of encroachments of our separation of church and state. That would be on you, right? We're
Yes.
hoping.
Well, I
think
I
it's
have I've never been to a football game at Lenoir City High School, so
All right.
I'm sure there is prayer, but
You from Earth?
yeah, I'm not there. But I also feel I go to my administration with a lot of things, and you know, until some students also step up and say, we need some help with this, or this is not right, or this teacher is doing this, you know, I'm not going to go looking for trouble.
I understand.
So,
yeah, you have to earn a living.
yes.
Let's just be real about this.
Yeah. I have enough on my plate. So,
I was wondering if some of these students that in your group, if they have been called out as troublemakers in any, or have any of them come out with any overt?
not that I know of.
No, I just wondered if you know.
Not that I know of.
Are you saying, are the students that join up troublemakers, or are
No,
you
no,
saying
are they-
have
they're-
been branded?
Branded. I'm
Okay.
wondering if they're branded troublemakers. Are there activities that go on at school that they would not participate in? For example, if there's a prayer every day or
Oh,
something.
golly, no.
No.
No. I think our administration's smarter than that.
Oh, they don't have that.
Oh, no,
okay.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
that's good.
No.
I mean, it's not like the city commission meetings.
Oh, well, you know, there is a prayer at the Board of Ed meeting, but our students don't really attend that.
Yeah. No, I wondered if
there's
they
no-
had a certain regimen that they followed.
Might be nice to show up
the-
one of these meetings with you know, stand out front, and just
Yeah.
you know, maybe. So you're focusing most, you know, on high school students because you're a high school teacher. Where do you see these kids taking this beyond high school?
I think a good many of them are pretty comfortable in their identity as secular. And, you know, the big thing is just growing up and becoming a little bit more independent and being able to act as your own person outside of your parents. And
That's huge, being your own person.
Being your own person and you know, and again, just being able to, and I think a lot of the students in the club have certainly the abilities to think for themselves and to think independently, but, you know, being
Right.
14 or being 16 lands you in your parents' house, and if your parents are unsupportive, you have to make that decision, how uncomfortable do I want my life to be, and
All right, we have a phone call, so we're going to
Okay.
let you off the hook. Hi, you are on Freethought Forum. May I have a name? Hi, Al. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Hey, you've been listening to our show today?
I just for about 10 minutes here, I ran across it, yeah.
Okay. You have a comment or question?
Well, I heard that you guys mentioned the separation of church and state.
That's correct.
Well, that's not quite right.
Okay.
Oh.
What did I get wrong?
Well, it's the Bill of Rights, it's the Amendment number 1.
Okay.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of people to assemble and to petition government to redress of grievances.
Right. So we're,
Separation of church and state isn't in there. It means for the state to keep out of the church house. It's to keep the state away from the church.
right.
And
So
the church, the government should not be in the church business.
correct. You are correct. The government should not be in the church business, and the church.
Separation of church and state, it says government shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion.
That's when this.
Right. Yes, we agree.
20 minutes left.
Yes, Al, I'm
Free
with you.
exercise thereof.
I'm with you.
No law.
What's your question?
My question is that you don't believe that.
I don't believe what?
What I just said.
No, I believe the First
Separation.
Amendment. That's exactly what you read to me. Was the First Amendment, wasn't it?
Separation of church and state. That's not what it says.
Yeah. Okay. So you're arguing semantics here, but the point is.
The thing is, government shall make no law for the church
Right. You're right.
regarding the establishment of religion.
It's called the Establishment Clause. Yes, we understand.
The establishment clause is what it's called.
Right.
And everybody's changed it to separation of church and state.
Okay.
That's not true.
So what would you like it to say?
No, the church can have influence on the state.
Why? Why can it go one way and not the other?
Morals. It has morality.
Okay.
And so we don't want people who run around the streets shooting and killing people.
Well, we have that now, and you're saying that your morality is from the Bible, the place that talks nothing but genocide and murder rampant. I mean, I can't take my morals from that. And quite frankly,
I shall not kill.
well, you shall not kill, except for what? When we're talking about brown people, or we're talking about people.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, that's what we're doing.
No, thou shalt not kill.
Except for when was it? Let me see. Who came down? Moses came down from the temple and then said, "All of you not following these rules, go kill all the heathens." That was the first thing he said.
Islam.
That was the first thing he told everyone to do was go kill. So it's like one of those. It's like after this sentence ends now. Now
There's
don't.
no such thing as separation of church and state.
Yes, there is. We're talking
right.
about it. It's called the Establishment Clause.
Establishment clause is government shall make no law regarding me starting a religion or a free exercise thereof. Very simple.
I'm not arguing with you about that. You're right. You're reading verbatim very well.
Of church and state. That's why I can get a 501c
Oh,
tax exemption.
that now you got me mad, because that is some garbage, my friend. If you want to talk about the separation of church and state, and you don't want to have any influence one way or the other, but yet you guys embezzle $70 billion every year that should be going to pay welfare and should be going to pay for all these teachers that are doing the jobs that you guys don't want to pay into the society.
Nursing homes,
That's the
churches
problem.
built
Yes, you're stealing.
They
You
build
guys are
houses
stealing.
for women that
Your religion
had
is
a child and the
stealing.
father's gone.
And that's one of your commandments, my friend, is thou shalt not steal. And you
Right.
guys do $70 billion worth of embezzlement every single year. Now,
They embezzle. They don't use it for
hey, those are numbers, my man. That's fact. Those are
use it to
facts.
help people.
So you want to influence? Then go ahead and pay your fair share, my man, because you're not doing it. You're
They
not
are
paying
fair
anything.
share. The government says it's a free exercise thereof. The government should keep their hands off church.
I would love it if you'd also keep your hands off of government, so we're even. Thank you for calling, Al.
Oh, no.
$70 billion each year that they don't pay into taxes. But we're not here to argue with Al today, because we've got some important guests. We're talking about the Secular Student Alliance from Lenoir City. And if you're a secular student out in Lenoir City, you have a home. You have a group that you can join. And Miss Elizabeth, well, I said that's kind of funny. Do you know who Miss Elizabeth is?
No.
Okay. Anyway, Sam got it. Did you? All right. Well, we'll explain you later. But anyway, tell us how your students can get involved here. What do they need to do if they're listening?
If my students are listening, or Lenoir City High School students are listening, we tend to meet on Tuesdays after school. We try to meet twice a week, or twice a month, and I have an email group. I have announcements in the morning, announcements during second block, and you're also welcome to come by room 205, where I am, and say, hey, I'd like to join the club.
You got any final questions for Miss Elizabeth? Lovely Miss Elizabeth?
No, all set
Okay.
for now.
All set? Well, then we're going to take our first program break here. In case you're just tuning in, this is Freethought Forum, a program by the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee. Freethought Forum is funded jointly by them and by individual contributions.
Shows are live most every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Knoxville Community Access Television Channel, either 12 or Channel 194, depending on your local cable network. Tell your out-of-town friends to see us streaming online at ctvknox.org.
Today's show is live, April 12th, and you can call in on the number on the screen and speak with us. While we take a short break, please watch these informative videos about our sponsors.
If you live in or around the Knoxville area and are questioning your religious beliefs or simply believe in one less God than everyone else, well, you're not alone. The Atheist Society of Knoxville is a fun and friendly group of people just like you that meets twice a week at a bar or restaurant. We meet every Tuesday night following the show at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria for happy hour. You'll find our group either inside or on the patio. Look for Richard Dawkins' silver-jacketed book, The God Delusion, standing upright on the table. On Fridays, we meet at Agave Azul or the Beard and Beer Market. But if you plan to preach, proselytize, provoke, or punch, please don't. We all question what we believe at one point in our lives. If this is the time for you, come join us for food, drink, conversation, and fun. Do you find stories of talking snakes laughable? Do you prefer the scientific method over supernatural beliefs? Are you concerned about religious leaders and organizations imposing their values and rules on your body, your family, and the rest of our society? Well, take comfort in the fact that you're not alone. The Rationalists of East Tennessee meets weekly for fellowship and provides a forum for people who support skeptical thinking and rational discussion of these and other issues. To find out more information or to find out about our next meeting, visit us on the web at www.rationalist.org.
We are back here on Freethought Forum. I am your host, No Longer Catholic Dan,
And I'm Rita Lund.
and we are here with Tyler from the Secular Student Alliance from Lenoir City. And Tyler, you've been listening to us interview your teacher for the last half hour or so. She's a pretty smart lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better say some nice things about her right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
So were you one of the founding fathers here, founding members?
No, actually, I'm a freshman, so I just joined this year. I began in, I guess it would be August or September, whenever our first meeting was. So I actually was not here whenever they first founded it, the 4 or 5 people that founded it. So I don't have any knowledge prior to whenever I joined.
Okay.
What brought you to
What
Club? We have a Panther Day, which is basically whenever the freshmen first come and they try out their classes, and they have all the clubs set up. And I was just looking around, and I saw the God Delusion on the table. I was like, I wonder if this is a book club or something. And I looked up and I saw SSA, and I read it. I was like, you know what, I might be interested in joining this. So I actually signed up for it that day, and then I went to the first meeting, and I really enjoyed it.
Now, you heard our last caller, Al. He had a question, and you
Yeah.
might have had an answer for him.
Well, Al, I have a question for you. Since you're asking why should state and government, state and the church be separated, I want to ask you, since you are such committed to the Constitution and what it says, are you disagreeing whenever Thomas Jefferson said that state and church should be separated, and he was one of the founding fathers?
So, Al, that question is for you. Do you think that Thomas Jefferson was wrong, or a liar, or perhaps never existed? Both of those are options, because he tends to believe things that never happened. We have a phone call. We're going to take it right here. Hello, you're on Freethought Forum. May I have a name or nickname? Dale.
Yes.
Dale, good to talk to you, Dale. Do you have a question for our friend Tyler here, or for us?
No, I kind of want to give what I think is a more definitive explanation to the First Amendment, the Establishment Clause.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, it says Congress shall make no laws establishing a national religion, is what I believe it says.
Yes.
And it shall make no laws, of course, prohibiting people from practicing their religion.
Correct.
So I believe that's what the separation of church and state is.
Right. Yeah, you're correct. That's how it was laid out in the Constitution, and as Tyler just told us, Thomas Jefferson was one of the founding fathers, and he said,
That state and church should be separated.
So, whether or not it's written specifically as that, that was the intended consequence of writing the Establishment Clause. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Al didn't seem to think that we understood that. We understand what it means, but our problem is that the church doesn't want to. They want the rule to go for government, but not for them. That's the problem. Well, thank you for calling, Dale. Did you have another question or comment?
Oh, no, that's all.
That's all. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
That was Dale. I forgot to ask where he was from, but yeah, we don't have any problem with the Establishment Clause. We have the problem with the church not following what was written in the Constitution. So you're a freshman, you're at Lenoir City, and you decide, hey, I want to join this club. Were you scared?
I mean, I was a little bit at first because Lenoir City actually takes 2 different middle schools and sometimes district kids. So I wasn't so sure if the North kids would be so acceptable to a club like that or me being a part of it. But as far as being scared from kids that I went with, they weren't so hard about it. I mean, a couple bad ones were, pretty much against it, but most of them were actually pretty accepting of it. So no, I was not scared.
In general, it's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
So when did you come to realize that you wanted to be a secular student? Are you an atheist?
Yes, I am an atheist. I came around to realize that I wanted to be a secular student and that I was an atheist around probably 5th or 6th grade, around that time, because I started questioning how everything was, and it was a lot of personal events that led up to it, but also I started reading more and more online in like what was going on in the world, and I started to see how much a religion, especially operating within a state and actually controlling what they do, would affect all the minorities and everyone else that had to suffer along with them.
Right. Well, that's a great explanation, but we have possibly an answer to your question. Hi, Al. Welcome back. You're on with Tyler.
Okay.
Do you have a question? Do you have an answer to his question? Is Thomas Jefferson wrong?
No, Thomas Jefferson got it from a Baptist in Rhode Island,
Okay.
and he put it
would be
together
rather
that
Williams.
way.
Okay.
The Baptists didn't want the government in the church's business or the free exercise thereof. And so this Baptist that was in Providence, Rhode Island, that's where Thomas Jefferson got his words to put that
Okay.
clause in there.
And what does that show?
That shows that government shall make no law regarding the establishment
Ironically,
of
we've
religion.
established this. We
Not a
understand.
state. I'm not talking about state religion. Any religion.
Okay, we're not either.
All right.
What-
It's any religion.
But see here, the problem is that you guys, the religious, is saying stay out of our business, right? But then you
No,
can't
no,
stay
you're
out of the
not
business
saying
as
that.
us.
The Establishment Clause says that the government keep your fingers out of the church.
Right.
Definitely.
That's
And
what
the
we're trying to
free
do.
Exercise thereof.
But what does it matter whether Thomas Jefferson?
Yeah, if Thomas
Well, he
Jefferson...
got it from a Baptist because I'm a Baptist, all right?
Okay, well then I guess
I'm a
that's
Baptist
correct.
preacher.
It doesn't matter where he got it from as long as he got it and it was reiterated into the government. It's not
Yeah,
about
but
where
he
it came
got it
from.
from a fundamental Baptist in Rhode Island. First Baptist Church of Providence, Rhode Island.
And Moses got his commandments from God, supposedly. So I guess
Yeah.
those are
What do you mean
invalid as well.
Of course he did.
Well, you're saying he got them from somewhere else. He didn't come up with them by himself, so it must be invalid. That's your argument.
That's not the argument.
Well, your argument is no argument because we can't understand what you're saying. The Establishment Clause has been established. We are trying to keep it in effect. You are trying to not keep it in effect.
Oh, no. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make sure that the government keeps their hands out of the church.
But it also says that the church cannot interfere and try to enforce the state religion on the government, which was notable in North
That's
Carolina.
not in there. That's not in there.
Keep going.
That's not in the Establishment Clause.
going.
Well, actually, in the treaty against the Barbary states in North Africa, whenever we signed a treaty, whenever they declared war against all Christian nations, George Washington, whenever he signed the agreement, he said, I do not have it verbatim, but he said that the United States is not a religious country with a state religion, therefore you cannot declare war on it in the intent of a religious war.
Well, it wasn't a religious war.
It was a religious war. Whenever the
Pound
Barbary
it,
states,
bro.
This nation was founded by Judeo-Christians. That's why there's 70% Christians in America.
it's 70% Christians because whenever in England and also in the Spanish provinces, whenever they migrated to North America, especially in England, they're actually persecuted, which is why you get a lot of Protestants and actually
Yeah,
whenever-
they come over here.
yeah, because they didn't want to be persecuted, which is why they set up that way the state and
Because
church.
England had a state church.
Yes, and the whole point is not to have a state church, and also so that way the church cannot influence the state as to have a state church or to have religion any way influencing the state, which is why in North Carolina, whenever they pass those anti-LGBT laws, in Tennessee, where they're trying to promote the Bible as the state book, it is completely counteracting the first.
The government is in the church's business when they start teaching morality or immorality.
But
That's the church's business.
it's not necessarily the church's business because
Sure it is.
morality is a basic human concept.
No, it's not just a yes or a no. You think if this is right, you think this is wrong, and the other guy thinks it's right, this is wrong. No, murder is always wrong.
Yeah, murder is wrong.
Telling
It's
a
in the
lie is
base.
wrong.
Yes, it's in basic human morality because that's what it takes for a
But it all
tribe.
came from the church.
No, it did
No.
not come from the church. If you actually look
Yes,
back,
it did.
but
That's
it
how
didn't.
the church. That's how
Okay.
the church is. When people go to church, they hear the Bible and they live by the Bible. They live righteously.
I went to church for 35 years, and there was very little of that going on.
Church is that
Sir.
Satan's church?
No, the
Sir.
Catholic Church.
The
Or-
Catholic Church. I was 28 years in the Catholic Church. I was going to be a priest. I was an altar boy. I got nuns and priests.
Great
in my
story, Al.
family. I
Great
spoke
story. We're talking
French. I
about
went
the
to
Establishment
12 years
Clause.
French schools, Catholic.
Al, I have a question
until
for
I
you.
got saved, born again, know Christ as my Savior.
Okay, thank you. We got one final question.
Al, I have a question for you. You know the South American tribes that actually existed in the Amazons, where they're strictly against cannibalism, murder, rape, everything that was against
yeah,
basic.
their conscience
Yes,
tells them it's wrong.
They were atheists. They did not actually
yeah,
worship
but their
any form.
conscience told them it was wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
Humans told them. Okay, Al, I'm glad you're agreeing with me that morality exists in basic humans, and we do not need religion.
All over the world, morality exists in their conscience.
Thanks, Al. We appreciate you getting hammered by a 14-year-old here. That was great. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, human morality does not need to come from an external source. It's inside of us because we function in a society, and if we don't want to be ostracized from our society, then we kind of do the things that keep us there, like not killing people, unless it's for oil, which probably Al would be in favor of. There's lots of things that are contradictory about the morality of the Bible. It's unbelievable. That was very well said, and thank you for saying that. Do you have something you were going to ask Tyler? I thought. No. Nope. Did I make that up?
I don't have it on me at the moment.
Well, I wanted to know, have you gotten any blowback? Just like I asked your teacher. Have you, like people going, oh, there's that atheist kid. He doesn't believe in God. He must be a weirdo.
Well, whenever I first came out about it and I was really young, a lot of people were being influenced by their parents, so they were more against it. And there was actually this kid that debated with me, and he was actually a really nice kid, and he didn't really get all up and at it with it. It was a civil debate, and it was actually really enjoying for me. And we discussed topics, and it made me realize and allowed to view what other people thought. But some kids were basically just saying, oh, he's right because he's Christian and everything else. And I've been called a liar numerous times because I did not believe in God. But now that I've joined high school, and especially in 8th grade, and kids maturing, I do not experience any blowbacks like that anymore.
That's awesome. Well, you seem to be a very popular guest here because we have another phone call for you. We'll get your question.
I wanted to know, I don't know if you have any grandparents around, and I wondered, if you have grandparents, are they more understanding or less?
Well,
Sometimes that generation skip makes for a greater rapport amongst.
I know my grandfather. One of my grandfathers was really supportive. He passed away though, so that's sad and unfortunate. But my other two grandparents, they're not so supportive because one is actually a pastor and the other is just Christian, and she's really against it. And she actually stopped coming around for a long time because she found out that my dad and I were atheists and against basically what she.
Well, hey, man, you got to do what you got to do to keep yourself on that Christmas list. Because grandparents give great gifts. But you've got another phone call. Hi, you're on Freethought Forum. May I have a name or nickname?
Eminem?
Eminem. Okay, go ahead.
No,
first called in and say, that was a very attractive lady you had there in the middle one of the blues. I don't know what the hell she went to, but
Well, she's thanks you for the kind
yeah.
words.
Is she gonna be at Barley's here? Cause I might want to come off down there and meet her.
I don't know. I don't know if she'll be at Barley's, but you can head down there. We'll be there in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, cool. You know, I was raised Christian, believing in God and Jesus Christ and such as that. And talking about the separation of church and state, I have 3 bills here in my hand, $1, $5, and $100 bill. And on the opposite side of the faces, and the back there, it has "In God We Trust."
It does.
Can I say this real quick? Okay, so as far as it saying, can I go ahead and just put this out there? As far as it saying "In God We Trust," that was actually in the 1950s. They were actually passing bills to be anti-communist, and since communism was basically kick out a lot of things, and it was a terrible government. It was perfect on pen and paper, but it was terrible in practice. And basically, it kicked out religion and persecuted a lot of minorities. And the reason why they put "In God We Trust," they wanted us to be non-communism, which is why we really went capitalist, and we have a lot of conservatism and whatnot pushed into the government in that era.
Oh, cool. Well, as far as Christianity and Muslim and Judaism, don't all 3 of those religions believe in God?
Yes, they all have their own versions of God. Yes, that is correct.
Abrahamic.
Yeah, you know, I have no problem with anyone's way of life. That's whatever you believe in. That's cool. I mean, now I watch this program to get another view of and perspective of things in life as I know it and feel it and see it every day. But it's kind of funny that talking about the thing in North Carolina about the gays, lesbians, whatever. It's funny that everybody's so down on the people that believe in the Confederacy. You know, there's a lot of people that still like that sort of life. They still like the flag. They still like old Bedford and such as that. And
Yeah.
everybody's down against that. So,
There's people still fly the Nazi flag as well.
pardon?
There's still people that fly the Nazi flag as well.
Correct. Yeah, and if we're supposed to all have our own freedom and live, pardon?
No, yeah, continue. Go ahead.
If everybody has their own beliefs and freedoms, why is everyone so down against the people that may believe in the Confederacy or and they just like the daggone flag? You know what I'm saying, man?
I just like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Anyway, as far as
yeah. Well, I feel my body getting burned, and I don't know what my soul would feel like getting burned.
Well, let's let Tyler explain the Confederacy.
As far as so bad against the Confederacy and whatnot, that's mainly because of what they stood for. But the state doesn't actually regulate and be like, oh, you can't be, Confederate or Nazi or anything. You can be anything you want to. The state doesn't matter. As far as that is just society being like, no, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be racist. So
yeah, it's like a lot of people take things and blow them out of proportion, and
I would tend to agree with you. I would say that if you have a flag in your car, it doesn't necessarily make you a racist.
Correct.
But that was a symbol of racism. So you got to be careful if you're flying that flag. That's what
It makes you popular with your friends.
Excuse me. How do you consider that a flag of racism? Because the Confederacy fought for something they believed in and wanted to defend, or
well, go ahead.
Okay, so as far as the reason why it stands for racism is the whole reason why the Confederacy claimed they fought up against the Union was due to states' rights, states being able to basically mandate their own laws, even though all that. But basically, that was basically a ruse because the South, whenever they had the 2 presidential candidates running for it, and they barely lost. If they had only had one, they probably would have won. They were actually all really scared, and they had a lot of newspaper propaganda saying that Abraham Lincoln's going to emancipate the slaves and everything else. And so a lot of slave owners were more afraid that they'll lose their slaves, which would cost them a lot of money and whatnot. So they were like, well, states can protect us, and the states were like, yeah, we can, and the governments but they were still pretty much afraid of it. So they went ahead and basically declared they succeeded from the Union. So it's more them going against all that.
Eminem, we thank you for your call. We're getting short on time. We have to let you go, but thank you for watching, and call back again. And let's also be clear. If you're flying a Confederate flag, you're flying a flag of the people who wanted to no longer be part of the United States of America. You wanted out, okay? You're trying to secede. You should be lucky you're still here, quite frankly. We let you stay, all right? You don't fly. You don't hang the team that wins the Super Bowl. You don't hang the loser's flag, right? No, you don't, unless you're
A rebel.
Unless you're a rebel, right? I guess that's what they're trying to say. Man, that was some well thought out answers there.
Thank you.
May not have been your first time. This your first? I mean, I was ready to show myself out.
No, it's my first time.
Okay. Well, your teacher's done an excellent job then, or at least your history teacher, that's for sure. So, you got your students out there, your friends out there. Tell them to join.
Well, yeah, just join. I mean, you can be whoever you want to be, and as long as you get a teacher that will stand up and be like, yeah, you can do this, and she or he can represent you whenever it comes to administration, you can do anything you want to. And even if your parents don't support you, at least you have your friends and the faculty to do that.
Right. I wanted to ask you one final question in terms of being, you said your dad was an atheist and your mom maybe something else, and regards to your grandparents. Was that the hardest part, was coming out to your parents? Or I guess not your dad, but...
No, it wasn't that hard to come out to my parents. It was harder for us to come out to my grandparents more than it was to come out to my parents, because one was a pastor and whatnot. But my parents were actually really accepting of it, and my mom was really accepting, and she still is, and we don't even go to church anymore, and she doesn't either. So.
Great. That's great. I would just say to all the students out there who may be listening, it can be scary, and you do have to take into account how your parents will react, and be smart and think about it before you make a decision. We have time for one quick phone call. Caller, you're on the air. Hey.
This is Jonas Holdeman. I'm calling from California.
Hi, Jonas.
Where we're out here. Just want to say we're watching Dan, Rita, Elizabeth, and Tyler. Boy, Tyler is really fantastic there, and you can sign him on as one of the hosts.
That's what I'm saying.
So anyway, I like the work that the SSA is doing, and so I'll just say hello and send my greetings to California. We'll be back to Tennessee in a couple of days.
All right,
Bye.
Thank you, Jonas. We appreciate the phone call.
It's time to start wrapping things up. Get out your pen and paper. This has been Freethought Forum, a program by the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee. I'm Rita Lund.
And I'm No Longer Catholic Dan. Please send us feedback, leave voicemail at 865-272-9060, or email us at freethoughtforum@yahoo.com.
You can see this show on Tuesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on this Knoxville station, or at 2200 Greenwich Mean Time at ctvknox.org.
The opinions expressed on this show are of the hosts and guests, not any official opinion of Ask or RET. We would like to thank Sam for technical support, the staff at CTV Knox, and to all our viewers.
Nuns, spelled N-O-N-E-S, those who identify with no religion, are the fastest growing religious group in America. Right here in East Tennessee, the Atheist Society of Knoxville and the Rationalists of East Tennessee are places you can find fellowship and fun.
So just remember, if you are an atheist in this area, you are not alone. Okay, so now we got to flex. Flex. Come on, flex. There you go. Barley's Tap Room, 5:30 every Tuesday. That's where Ask will be. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Tyler. See you later.